Transfer deadline day is becoming more and more dramatic and overhyped every summer, and while sometimes it underwhelms, it has seen some fantastic deals go through the years, so ahead of August 31st, let's take a look at 8 incredible summer deadline day deals from the Premier League. First up, we've got Dimitar Berbatov. In the summer of 2008, the ice-cool Dimitar Berbatov had decided he'd had enough of North London and fancied a move elsewhere, with Sir Alex Ferguson making it very clear he wanted to bring him to Old Trafford. So come transfer deadline day in 2008, and Berbatov is still a Spurs player, but Tottenham have accepted 2 bids for their striker, one from Man United and another from rivals Manchester City, who are trying to run before they can walk with their newfound wealth. Of course, the Bulgarian chose the red side of Manchester, selling for £30.75 million, scoring 48 goals in 108 Premier League appearances for the club. Next up, it's Stephan Nzonzi. The French midfielder had impressed for Blackburn during his 3 years at Ewood Park, but decided in the summer of 2012 that it was time to move elsewhere. But he had to sweat it out and wait until August 31st when he would join Stoke City for just £3 million. An under-the-radar coup by Stoke, who certainly reaped the rewards, with Nzonzi performing even better for the Potters. Arguably underappreciated, Nzonzi joined Sevilla in the summer of 2015 and has since been linked with moves back to the Premier League, with the top bracket teams taking an interest in him, showing just how good a deal Stoke got in 2012. Up next, we've got Virgil van Dijk. The big Dutch defender had been shutting out Scottish strikers for 2 full seasons in Glasgow when he decided to relocate, and with Celtic knocked out of the Champions League, Van Dijk would leave Celtic Park and head to the Premier League on transfer deadline day in 2015, costing Southampton £13 million, with everyone asking the question, can he make the transition from Scottish football to the Premier League? Any doubters were proved wrong immediately, with Van Dijk sharp establishing himself as one of the top centre-backs in the Premier League, and he'll be hoping for another busy transfer deadline day this year as he seeks a move away from St Mary's. Next, we've got David Luiz. Chelsea have signed David Luiz twice in their history, and both times it came on the final day of the transfer window, with the first being in January 2011, but we're focusing on his return to Stamford Bridge last summer on August 31st. The deal came out of nowhere and was a real shock, as the Brazilian didn't look like the kind of player the disciplined Antonio Conte would want to work with. With Luiz stating he had unfinished business, he proved how wrong we all were, with a much more mature side to his game as part of Chelsea's back 3, helping the Blues lift the Premier League title. £34 million well spent. Up next, it's Ashley Cole. While some deals go right up to the wire, this one went past it, with Ashley Cole's move to Chelsea being finalised an hour after the transfer window had closed in 2006. It was quite the transfer saga between Arsenal and Chelsea, which began in January 2005, when the England left-back and Chelsea boss Jose Mourinho met up about a move, which saw a lot of fines dished about. Cole's relationship with Arsenal soured, as he whinged about his £55,000 a week wage he'd been offered, and after scraping enough pennies to buy a Big Mac, Cashley eventually got his move to Stamford Bridge. That saw William Gallas move the other way. It was an 18-month transfer saga, but Chelsea will tell you it was all worth it, getting the best years out of one of the best left-backs of his generation. Next, we've got Christian Benteke. The young Belgian striker had been smashing in the goals back in his homeland for Genk, and on the 31st of August 2012 sealed a dream move to the Premier League, costing Aston Villa £7 million in a low-key deadline day move that most people wouldn't have glanced an eye at. It soon proved to be a brilliant piece of business though, with Benteke scoring 19 goals in his first Premier League campaign as Villa avoided relegation. Benteke continued to work miracles in a Villa shirt, ending his time there with 42 Premier League goals in 89 games, earning him a big money move to Liverpool. But let's not talk about that. Our penultimate deadline day signing is Mesut Ozil. It remains one of the biggest deadline day moves ever, as Real Madrid playmaker and Bugs Life enthusiast Mesut Ozil swapped the Bernabeu for the Emirates, costing Arsenal £42.5 million. It was a crazy move by Arsene Wenger, who has hardly been one for spending money, let alone shelling out on the final day of the transfer window, but an opportunity arose and he pounced on it. The German has divided opinion during his time in the Premier League, but the number of assists he's racked up speak for itself. Just don't ask him to defend. And finally, we've got Rafael van der Vaart. Harry Redknapp is synonymous with transfer deadline day, hanging out of his car window on Sky Sports News discussing the incomings and the outgoings, and he pulled a real Dutch rabbit out of the hat in August 2010. With just 2 hours until the window closed, Spurs made an £8 million bid to Real Madrid for midfielder Rafael van der Vaart. After technical issues delayed them sorting out the paperwork, Tottenham were given special dispensation from the Premier League to get the deal done, and RVD became a Tottenham player the following day. In his 2 seasons at White Hart Lane, Van der Vaart was a star and a real cult hero, scoring key goals against rivals Arsenal, and ever since that night we've come to expect big things from Tottenham on transfer deadline day. So those are 8 incredible summer deadline day deals from the Premier League. Let us know your team's best deadline day signing in the comments below, and join us tomorrow to look at some of the worst deadline day signings. And if you haven't already, give us a like, a share and a subscribe.